Hi guys, good evening, Juliet. So like I promised, I was going to prepare a tutorial on how you can design different feed layouts for your Instagram. So here is the video. But first thing I want you to know is before you start designing or creating, let's say creating any design you want to use, be it on your social media posts or on your blogs, you first have to have your design plan written out. And when I say design plan, that means you have to first of all write a copy of what your design is going to look like, create a draft, choose font styles that you would be using. Just stick clear to those font styles. So choose a size, and when you're choosing fonts, make sure you use simple fonts. Stick to a color palette like your brand colors. Make sure your text is readable, and don't overcrowd your post. Now for the first one we're going to be designing would be the checkerboard. Now the checkerboard is the simple and most easiest feed to create for your Instagram. So let's get going. As you can see, my Canva is already open. So what we're going to do here is, if you're familiar with the Canva dashboard, this is the web dashboard, not the mobile dashboard. So if you're familiar with this is how it looks like. And if you're not familiar with it, you have the home, you have a template where you have different templates, be it for your social media, be it for personal or business presentation, website, business cards. And then here on the side you have all your designs. Whatever you've designed previously on Canva will be shown on the designs. Then if people have shared designs or works they've done with you, it will be under your share with you menu. Then brand kit is if you're on the pro version. As you can see, if you're on the pro version and you upload your brand logos, it will now pick out your brand colors for you that you can use. And on this side you can see your brand fonts. Now one thing you can also do is every time you change fonts, maybe you want to just keep on changing fonts, you just upload a font here. And here is all your folders from all your designs, likes, what you've purchased, and that trash can. Then if you have a theme, you can, that's if you're on the pro version, you have your theme here. Once you click on it, it will show everyone who is assigned under your theme. And also when creating designs, you can save to folders and name the folders. As you can see, I have a folder for template, I have one for content ideas, design, for my stories, for highlights, puzzle templates, carousel, and all that comes with it. So now we're just going to click on create design. As you can see here, when you click on create design, you have the custom dimensions. You have, if you're creating a media kit, you just click on it. If it's a video, presentation, Instagram post, or a story highlight cover, your Instagram story. If you're creating for Facebook, academic certificate, yes, you could create certificates on Canva. Canva now makes it easy to create anything. If it's a high school diploma, a poster, even an animated social media for Instagram. As you can see, you have logo, Facebook posts. You could also create infographics, flyers, photo collages, business cards, YouTube thumbnails and channel arts, book covers. Even for your desktop, for your laptop, you could create a desktop wallpaper here, menu, and so many other things. So we are going to be creating an Instagram post, and the normal Instagram post is a 1000 by 80 and 1000 by 80. So we're going to choose that, and it's going to bring us to this window. Now once you're here, this is your Canva, right? So for the checkerboard, what you want to do is you're going to create each Canva is going to represent a grid in your Instagram feed. So for the checkerboard, it's quite easy. It's a tiles feed with images. All you have to do is you have to decide what kind of post you want your checkerboard design to have. You have to choose 2 types of posts, and then you have to post them in alternating order. So let's say your first post is going to be an image, just a random image, let's say photos. Let's go to, let's see, mountains. It could be mountains, and then all you have to do is just increase the size to fit into this canva, right? You could do this. Then what you have to do next is you're going to ask it to add a new page. Now on this page, let's say it's going to be a quote, which normally it is for a checkerboard. It's normally pictures and then something written, and then pictures and something written as well. As we all know, the Instagram is a three column feed layout. So you're going to be having a picture, a quote, and then another picture, right? So here we already have the picture. So now for, let's say we're typing a quote, we're going to come to the second page. Always make sure that you click on it, and then we're going to choose text. Now under the text, you can see the variations of text here that have already been grouped together for you. Now Canva, as a design application or platform as it is, already knows the type of fonts that work well together. As you can see, let's say for example this one, White Christmas, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. There are 2 different kind of fonts. Now if we want to know what fonts these are, okay, as you can see, it has already mentioned I am dreaming is called Libre Baskerville. Now if I click on the White Christmas, it's showing it's called Great Vibes. So you can save them if you really like to use this font. There's so many other combinations of fonts, but if you already have a font that you are used to using, you can as well use them. Like I like using this one, the Fab at 50. Yeah, I really like it. As you can see, it's a combination of 3 different fonts. Here we have Avaya Libre Extra Regular. If I click on that, you can see the list of fonts, which is already highlighted. Avaya Libre Extra Bold. And this one, the Fab at 50, is called a Dancing Square. And this last one is called, it's the same family of the Avaya Libre, but instead of the extra bold, it's the regular. So normally I like to use this. So then we're going to be using this for our quote post. So as you can see, I have a picture, I have a quote, Claudia is fab at 50, and then we can come to this next one, and then we'll also add another image to go with it. Another thing you can do, instead of just adding images like this and having to resize them, you could come to elements, and then you come to grids. When you're in the grids are posts that you can insert images into. So if I click here, as you can see, because I want the square shape, it has already filled up my Canva for me. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back to photos. Like I said, instead of resizing every image I bring here, I could just use that. It's like a placeholder for a picture, so you just insert your picture. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to pick another picture. We'll first use mountains. I'm going to take flowers. Now you see, notice once I click on it and I move it, it automatically places it into the frame, as you can see. So now we have an image, a quote, let's say, and then another image. So you just keep on doing this you just continue copying. What you can do is you already have a code, so instead of asking it to add a new page, I could just come here, because the next one is a code, right? I could just come here and tell it to duplicate page. Now when it duplicates, it goes right underneath this one, right? But I don't want it to be the next post, so we don't get confused. What you're going to do is you have the scroll up and scroll down, or move up and move down button. So I'm just going to click on this, and it places it right below the next image. So as you can see now, we have the first one, which is a mountain, and then we have the codes, and then an image, and then a code. The same thing I'm going to keep on doing, because the next one is going to be, I'm going to ask it to be duplicate page. It's going to be an image, then I will just move it downward. So you just keep on going like that, and you change images. Like for here now, I want to change this image because we already have it here. I click on it and I come to the delete button, and once I click on delete, I only ask it to delete the image, not the grid, because if I delete the grid, the placeholder for the picture goes away, right? So let's just to show you what I mean. If I click on grid, everything is gone, right? So I'm just going to this little button here is to undo. So it's, as you can see, Canva is very easy to use. Once I click undo, it brings it back, right? So in case you make mistakes, the undo button is there. So I just click on it again, and I head over to my delete button, and this time around I'm going to ask it to delete image. So the image is gone, and I still have the place holder here. So we're going to look for something else again, a picture. I'm just going to pick a sky, and as you can see, once again it places it here, not directly into the placeholder, but once you click on it and you move it and it places it automatically. So basically this is how you create your checkerboard style. Now you've created the pictures. Where the checkerboard style is going to come in is you have to post them in alternating orders on your Instagram. So let's say first you want to go with image. That's going to be the first post. The next post is going to be your quotes or whatever written word you have you want to write there. Then following it is going to be an image as well, then words, then image. You could also decide to do it. So by the time you finish posting, this word post here would be in the center. It would be checkerboard. I don't know if you understand me. So if you don't want to do picture, word, picture, you could alternate. It could be word, picture. So it's up to you. And like I said, it's one of the easiest feed to create on Canva. I hope you try this out, and I would be willing to know and see how it goes for you. After this, we'll be moving on to the how to create the vertical line feed for your Instagram. Yeah, so we're back again, and now for the vertical lines, which is practically the same basis like the checkerboard. So we're just going to ask it to create a design, and then we're going to come to Instagram post, and it's going to open up a new Canva. Now with vertical lines as well, you have to decide on two types of post. But the thing with the vertical line is you have to post 3 pictures at the same time, and it has to follow a sequence always. So in the sequence of 1 to 1. So what I mean by 1 to 1, let's say for example this is our Canva, and we're going to be creating pictures and quotes and pictures again. But don't forget, this is a vertical line, right? We're trying to create a vertical line. So let's say this is our first post. We're going to come to photos again, and we're going to choose let's go for coffee this time. I don't know why I feel like drinking coffee this time, but it's okay. So let's go to photos. So let's say our first image is going to be coffee beans, right? So there you have it. Like I said before, you could do this and then just drag it to size, but for an easier way, all you have to do is go to elements, and then you go down to grids, and you always pick the first one, which is a square, right? And then there it is. So you come back to photos, and we're picking coffee beans. So once again, once I click, it inserts it. So that's the first one. Remember, I said we're going to be doing 3 pictures and they have to be posted at the same time, right? But it has to be in a sequence. So let's say the first one is an image of a coffee bean, okay? And the next one, we're going to add a new page, and the next one we want is a text. Once again, we're going to come to text and we're going to choose a kind of text if you want. Now when it comes to text, is either you could choose the pre-made ones, the presets for you, or you could just start by adding your own text. So as you can see at the heading, and here you can just change the fonts to whatever fonts you like. But to make it easier, and because the Canva application has already gone through this for us and knows what fonts fit with each other. So let's say I'm dreaming of a white Christmas isn't what you're looking for, that would go with coffee, or we could still use it. Now one thing I want you to notice is if you click on this, because there are two different fonts placed together, this line here, this dotted line here, and this one shows you that they have been grouped. So if I move them, they move together. But if I don't want to place them on the same place, all I have to do is when it's highlighted, I just click on ungroup and it has ungrouped it for me. So doing that means I can now shift them to whatever position I want to based on my style. So I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. I'm going to change it, and let's just say I want a cup of coffee, a cuppa. I can just leave it at a cuppa, and as you can notice, it's already here, the alignment of the words have already been shifted to the right. Now you can change it depending on the style you want. You could either bring it back to be justified, or you could take it to the left, or you can centralize it. But anyway it goes, just always remember to resize them, which is this, and all you have to do is bring it here. So I want a cuppa, and here we're just going to highlight and I'm going to write coffee. I want a cup of coffee, right? So there it is. Then all I have to do is just place it wherever I want to place it, and also don't forget to resize it. Resizing it does not change the size of the font, it just resizes the shape of the way it's written. So I want a cup of coffee, and here we have a coffee bean, and then I'm going to add another new page, okay? And here again I want to place an image. We're going to go back to elements, then come back to photos, and first, as you can see, I had the coffee bean and my text, and now I want to add a cup of coffee, and all I have to do is move it, and wow, delicious coffee, right? So what I want you to understand is you have to, these three pictures have to be posted at the same time and in the sequence of 1 to 1, so you could get the vertical style you're aiming for, right? So by posting the three in the sequence of 1 to 1, when I say 1 to 1, page 1, which is a coffee bean, is a picture, so we assign the number sequence 1 to it, and text is number sequence 2, and this is number sequence 3. So when I'm posting, I will first post this one, and this one. Then, as I said, on Instagram we know it's a grid, right? So this is the first row that I have. So I now have picture, text, picture. So when I'm posting again, I still have to follow that sequence so that I will have a vertical line. Now, to make it easier for you to understand what I'm saying, I'm just going to delete this. I'm going to delete this, and we're going to start. I just want to show you this example so you would really understand what I'm saying based on the grid. So I'm just going to come back to elements, and I'm going to go to grids again. Now under the grid we have different shapes, different sizes of grids, but I'm going to look for one that closely resembles the Instagram feed, which is the 9. Mostly that's a basic 9, right? Okay, so here it is. I'm going to click here. So what I was trying to explain is, as you can see, it already has, because it's a grid, it already has the image platforms. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back here. Now, if you remember, I said you have to go in the sequences of 1 to 1, which is either a picture, a quote, or picture. So let's say we're going for that. So remember, the first image I did was this. I'm going to place it here. Right, then we had the text. I'm going to come back, but now because it's I can delete this if I want to. So I would have the empty space. So I would have the empty space to write. But because it's all combined, I'm just using this to show you an example of the sequence, how it would look on your grid. So I'm just going to come back to elements. I just want to place a box just to show you. I'm going to go to shapes, and I would bring that right here, but I'm going to resize it. I'm just using this to show you what I mean by the sequence and how your feed is going to look when you follow that sequence. It's going to have a vertical line sequence. So here I'm just going to come here, and I'm going to bring in our text that we wrote before. I'm dreaming, we could just leave it as I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, since I'm just using it to show you an example of what it should, the sequence should be. Right, so here we have. Now, one thing I want you to notice as I'm moving this, you can see a purple line. These are the guidelines of Canva. It shows you that the line, the placement of the text or the image is in a straight line. So I'm just going to release my mouse, and it's there. And I'm going to come back again to the photos, and when we were creating the image, there next was this coffee guy, right, pouring me my cup of coffee. So there it is. So when I say sequence, this is my first one, and this is my 2, and this is my 1, right? So we're just going to keep on doing that. Now, not to waste enough, not to take much of your time, so I'm just going to quickly repeat this so you could see. So it's just pictures, quote pictures, but just don't forget to follow that sequence. Now I can come back again, and I can put another image of coffee. Let's say friends. Let's take another bean image of coffee, and there you go. And then another image of coffee here, and then a text again. We're going to go back to elements. I'm going to bring this. I'm just using this as an example to show you how it looks like on your feed, or you would have to design these images separately like I showed you in the beginning, right? So you have to create 3 images that are going to be posted at the same time. So once again, I'm just going to copy this and bring it here, and there it goes. So you see we're creating the vertical. Now it doesn't really have to be pictures, text, and picture. You could play around. You could have pictures, the sequence. So let's say here we want, let me just go and make it easier. I'm just going to put a bin, a coffee bin there, and let's look for another coffee bin. I'm going to place this here. So as you can see, it's a picture. Then I'm going to come back to my elements. We're going to choose this, and I'm going to resize it just to place it here. Like I said, I'm just showing you how the feed would look like. Okay, you could also do this and then when you're done, instead of creating your posts individually to save time, you could do on this grid, depending on how many. If you go back to elements and you go to the grid, you would find more than, I think that this is the 9, then there's a 12, but normally I would go for the 9, and all you have to do is duplicate page, and you have for continuity of creating posts, right? So I'm just using this to show you an example. So as you can see, if we were to continue, let me just take this off from here, delete image, and I'm going to delete this one as well, delete element, I'm deleting the group, okay, and I'm going to delete this. But if we were to continue as the 1-to-1 sequence of images, coffee, text, and the coffee beans, this is how your grid is going to look like. So I'm just going to copy this and just bring it over here, Okay, then I'm going to copy the text again. This is a duplicate. As you can see, it's written duplicate, so all you have to do is press and then you bring it over here. Then I'm going to look for another cup of coffee, which I like this, and then I place it. Now as you can see, once I placed it, the image shifted. It's not showing the full cup of coffee. If I wanted to show, all I have to do is double click, and as you can see, it brings it out. Then I can shift to wherever I want to appear on the grid and release, and there you go. So as you can see, if you're posting in the sequence of 1 to 1, which is this is 1, right? Let me just type something there so that you can really follow through. So I'm just going to type 1, right? Let me give that a color of red so it shows. So this is 1. This is our sequence 1, right? I'm just going to copy that and copy that once more to save time. And this is our second sequence. All I have to do is change it to 2, and then here this is our third sequence, 1 to 1, which is correct. So when you're posting, you have to post the 3 first pictures at the same time, so your feed has that. Otherwise, if you alternate them, you would not have the vertical. So this is how the vertical looks like. Now remember, I said you could do this, and when you're done with this, if you want to save time, I just create, all you have to do is go back, like I said, to elements and go to grids, and under the grids look for the 9 square grid, which is somewhere down on the grid template, right? And then which is here. Okay, so you can now do everything here, and you would now go to, I would give you a website where you could slice your images. All you have to do is you upload it onto that website, and it would now slice, which means it will cut them into individual posts for you. This helps in saving time, and then you upload. But if you want to do them separately, once again, all you have to do is just create a new page and then go coffee. Let's go back to our elements and choose that grid to save time, and then photos, coffee, and you just keep duplicating, changing. Like now I have here, but it's going to be a text. I'm going to delete image, come back to elements, and put in a shape so I can add color to it to give me that effect that I'm looking for, right? And placing my text, I'm going to come back to text, and we're going to have our white Christmas and so on. So all you have to do is just keep on duplicating and changing as you want. Now remember, I said this is how the vertical would look like. Once again, as I mentioned, it doesn't really have to be this way. You could instead have, let's say, instead of having it text, image, and image, text, and image, you could decide to have 2 images. Instead of the text, you could decide to have 2 images before your text, right? So there you are. So all you have to do is come back here. I'm going to go back to my elements and come with this one, and I'm just going to reduce it and place it here, and then bring in my text. So all you have to do really is just follow the sequence, 1 to 1 sequence. So here now I have 2 images. I'm just going to come this way. Sorry, I'm just going to come here, and I would ask it to delete image, which it has done, right? I'm going to move this here. As you can see, I'm still creating the duplicate, the vertical I want to create. So it's pretty much easy, and doesn't take too much of a time to have that. So now, as you can see, we're still on the vertical. It's just depending on you and the style you would like to use to attain and achieve that vertical style. So that's pretty much the vertical style. Just remember, you have to post 3 pictures at the same time and follow the sequence of 1 to 1. So as you can see, this is another style of vertical. Your images are both here and your text are here. So that's it for the vertical style. Up next is coming the horizontal style. Yeah, we're back, and now we're going to do the horizontal side. Now the horizontal side is pretty much the same as the vertical style, right? So we're just going to go and create a design once again, Instagram post, and then Canva has brought up our white canvas to start drawing on. So we're going to go to photos as usual, and we're going to choose an image we would like to use. Like I mentioned before, you don't have to pick images and drag and drop, but if you do this, there you go. So that's it. So for the horizontal, it's still the same. It's easy. It has lots of options. You can get creative. The easiest one is the one of line of photos, one line of quotes. Now to show you exactly what I mean, I'm going to go back and bring the elements up, and we're going to go to grid. I just want to show you how this looks like on your Instagram feed. It's pretty much the same way as creating the vertical, but this time it's the horizontal. So let's look for the 9 grid of Instagram. Where has it gone to? Okay, and there we go. Okay, so that's okay. Sorry, oops, I have to take this off and then I place it. So let's assume this is our Instagram feed. Now again, 3 pictures have to be posted at the same time, but what you have to do is make sure each line is different from each. What I mean is what you post here should be different from here and should be different from here. So that's basically the vertical line. So let's say here we're posting pictures, right? We're going to, let's look for something food. Okay, everybody likes food, so let's go for food. So here it's either we're posting cooked foods, yeah, we go for cooked foods, or we go for desserts, as you want. So I can come to food, and one thing I want you to notice once again about Canva, yes, it has given us a long list of library here of foods you can choose from, to vegetables and all. But if you want to make it easier and you know what you're looking for, as you can notice here, we have food background. If I click on pasta, it's going to give me different images of pasta. If I click on pizza, it's going to give me different images of pizza, meal, dessert, vegetables, fruits, and so on. So for the vertical, once again, for the horizontal, once again, you have to decide on your theme. You can get creative, you can use colors, you can decide to have a background of colors included in your images, but what you have to know is each has to be different from each, right? So let's say we're going for the first one, we want to use vegetables, okay? So we're going to pick vegetables. Let's go for this one. We're going to place it here. Then we're going to look for another one that's vegetable. We could place it here, and then another image of vegetables, and there we go. So that's the first for the horizontal. Now on this row, we're not going to be posting fruits. Let's say we're going to be posting text, or you could say let's see, okay, we already did coffee. Let's go for food, right? We went for food the first time. Okay, so instead of that, of vegetables, we could go for pasta. Who doesn't like pasta? We all like pasta. So all you have to do once again is just choose an image you like and paste it, but make sure the first one is different from the second, and it's different, but they are all related. They are all the same. If you're going for pictures, they should be related. So as you can see, we have vegetables here, and now we're going for the pasta, for the yummy pasta. We all love pasta, don't we? And there you have pasta, and then once again we're going to look for another image for pasta, right? that is much more. And there you go, this is pasta. So now here you can decide to continue pasting pictures, or you could decide to put in text, or you could decide to put in dishes, pots, plates. Let's go for plates. All I have to do is type in plates, and I would have plates, right? And then you can post them here. But just let's say you want to put in text or utensils, or just follow that that sequence of each has to be the same. You could also do colors. Your first row could be images in green, shades of green. And as you can see, these pictures that I've posted now are in different shades, right? You can see that here we're having more of the red, and here in the pasta we're having more of the yellow, and here you could go for something lighter or darker. Just make sure each row is different from the other. You could place text. So let's just say you just want to place text as we are used to placing text. So we're going to come back here because it's a grid. Now I'm showing you this because it's on, I'm just trying to duplicate your Instagram feed. You could do this individually, and when you're doing it individually, for example, let's say add page, it's an empty canva, right? So I could just come to text and I pick a text and it will go straight onto it, right? And once again, have you noticed the grid, the guidelines of Canva? That means where I have placed my text is centralized. It's perfect, right? So here you could do them individually. You could do one for your text. You could do 3 texts, so you have your 3 texts ready. Then you could do 3 food or whatever pictures you want to include. Let's go back to photos once again. Let's go to what we use, pasta, right? So that's my pasta, and then you increase it to the size you want. But like I told you before, instead of increasing and losing some of the images, all you could do is just go to elements and look for the grid, and it makes it easier to just place images, and in there you could resize your image as you want, right? So that's pasta, and here, so you just keep on creating and you upload them separately. But I prefer to use the grid style, and when I use the grid, it's much easier. You know, you see everything as it's going to be placed on your feed. You can decide. It helps you with the deciding how you want your feed to look like. And when you're done, all you have to do is upload it to a slicing website that will slice your one application, and it will slice them out individually, and you have to download each image individually. So that's basically it for the horizontal. So let's go back, let's just complete this so you understand how it would look like. So let me just change this color. Okay, it's on my brand color, so let's use something lighter, like a gray. Okay, like a grayish color, just to give it a little bit of background. And I'm going to copy that and just place it here, and then I'm going to copy again and place it here, and then we just come back to text. We write text. As you can see, Canva has beautiful fonts going on. You would have, you see, neon text. You have sparkle. Oh my goodness, Canva is making everything easier and lovely. So we could have sparkle, and we just add it here to our post, and then you have cheers. Just remember, make sure each has the same image and is different from the next row, right? And let's see one that would go very well with that again. And we could just say sparkle cheers and thank you. Why not? And thank you for having a delicious meal of pasta and veggies, right? So as you can see, there you go. So you could just upload this and it will slice it and give it to you individually. But if you would like, you could create them individually and download for upload onto. So when you're done, all you have to do is you come to your download,
always leave it at PNG. All right. Okay, so now you can see here you have all pages 5, right? So if we were creating this individually, you could choose which pages you want to download. So let's say we've created 3 of the text, and then we've created another 3 of the food, right? And again another 3 of the food, if that's the sequence we're going for. Instead of me to download all, which is advisable, and create a folder where I could place all of them, I could ask it to download the pages I want. As you can see, you have page 1, you have page 2. Also, what you can do is when you're creating, so you don't get lost on what each page title is, I can just come here and click and add the title for this page. So I'm just going to say the horizontal row 2, because I want to place the text in the row, the second row on my grid here, right? So you can rename them, and then when you come to download, you decide if you want to download all your pages, which is advisable, but sometimes you create lots of posts. You could ask it to download individually. All you have to do is select the pages you want. Let's say I'm just selecting page 1. Okay, I'm not going for page 1. Let's say I'm just going for page 2, 3, and 4, and I ask it done. You see, so I have pages 2 to 4, which is this one, and this one, right? I will just ask it to download. It's preparing my design, and it will upload onto, it will ask me where to save it. So on title design, we all know you just give it a title. So this is horizontal R2, which is for row 2, and then you save it. Okay, and you have to decide where you want to save this. You could create a new folder for it, and you place it into the folder, right? So that's it about saving. Then you continue editing and creating more images. Now if you download all of them, it's going to come as a zip file. If you download more than one page on the same Canva, it's going to download for you as a zip file. So let's say we're downloading all the pages. If I click download, you would see when it's downloading, it will give me a zip file which I would have to extract, right? And then save into another folder which will be created. So that's pretty much about the horizontal. So go and practice. As you can see, you have compressed zip folder, so it's going to download in the zip folder for me because it's more than one page. So go try this out, and once again I would like to know how this went well for you. Coming up next is the cinematic borders. Okay, so here now we're going to create the cinematic borders. The cinematic borders gives your feed a look like, you know, those movies in the cinema where you have white border lines across images. So that's what the cinematic border grid layout looks like. Now we're going to go to create design, but here we're not going to use the normal Instagram post design. We're going to come to custom dimensions, where you have the width and the height. For this kind of post, which I normally use for most of my posts, I go for the 1000 width by the 1000 height. Now when I click on create design, it's not really much of a difference. You wouldn't really notice it, but there's a slight difference there. So what you want to do here now, as usual, is we're going to go to elements, and we're going to pick our grid once again, right? And it's going to place it there. So what you want to do here now is just to shift from this top. As you can see, there are 4 pointers, resize angles. you have one here and one here, and in the center, and the same goes on the bottom and by the sides. So to achieve the cinematic borders, what we're going to do is we're going to drop and drag this one up until you can go as far as you want your white borders to be, but I prefer to follow the Canva guidelines. So that's the first one, and here is the next one. As you can see, the guidelines have given me that, but like I said, you could go as wide as you want your white borders for your cinematic look to be. When you're done with that, all you have to do is just go to photos. If you have your own photos which you would have uploaded in the uploads here, like you can see, or you could just go to upload an image. If you have an image on your device already, click on device and upload it. If it's on your Facebook, you can bring it from your Facebook, your Instagram, your Google Drive, or your Dropbox. But since you already have some, as you can see, I have loads of them, or we could just use a normal photo. So this time around, let's look for something different. Let's say beach. Right, beach. It's raining, but I just want to have the feel of summer. Please, we're tired of the rain. Okay, moving on. So this is the beach. I'm just going to choose this and I'm going to place it here. So don't forget, I said it depends on how wide you want your white borders to be. You could drag them lower, you can increase it. It depends on how you want it to be on your feed. So this is very simple and easy to achieve. All you have to do is just duplicate and have a new page. Select the image, delete image, don't delete the grid, and just keep on adding images you want to add to achieve that look. So I'm just going to duplicate once again. I'm going to come here, I'm going to delete the image, and I'm going to select another image and place it. So you just keep on creating, and once you upload them to your feed, you're going to have this cinematic white borders. Now again, you could also do that with the grid layout, but I wouldn't advise it because I have tried it actually and I didn't like the outcome. But you could try it, and if you get it right, please do let me know. So I just want to show you how it's going to look like if you want to use it on the grid and then slice them up later. It didn't come out well for me when it was slicing, and that's why I prefer to do it individually when it comes to the cinematic borders. Now with this, it gives you you can change your feed regularly, right? So as you can see here, but here if you use this, like I said, it didn't come out nicely as I wanted it to come out, so I prefer to just do them individually. I'm not going to show you how because it didn't come out well for me, and when something doesn't work well for me, there's no need for me to show you how to achieve that. So just try it and let me know if you get it right. I would love to know how you achieve that. So you could just do them individually like I said, and when you're done, you could just let me do one more. So I'm just going to go to photos again and delete image and then include, let's see, this is my map over the sunglasses enjoying the sun. So there you go for your cinematic borders. All you have to do is just go to download, always remember PNG, and download the pages, save it to your folder, then you can upload them to your Instagram and it will give you that cinematic look. So that's it for the cinematic borders. As you can see, very easy. Coming up next, I'm going to show you how to do the mixed borders. Hello once again, now we're on to the mixed borders. Now the mixed borders is practically a mixture of horizontal and vertical, right? Remember, we created vertical and we created the horizontal. So for the mixed borders, it's practically a mixture of both. So we're going to come to create a design, custom dimensions again, and 1000, and we'll just ask it to create a new design, a new page. So when it gives me the new page, we'll go back to elements and then we look for our grid, right? So for the first one we want to create is just basically moving this and moving this, right? And coming to photos, placing an image. I'm just going to ask it to duplicate page. I will delete the image and I have the grid. So all you have to do is just resize the grid back to where it was, because now we're not going that way, we're going this way. So that's where you have your mixed borders. As you can see here and here, it's different, right? Here we have the vertical and here we have the horizontal. So you just keep on creating images. I'm going to duplicate this. So basically it's pretty much simple to achieve this. It's pretty much simple, okay? So I'm just going to come here and delete image and then resize it back, because now we're going for the horizontal, right? And there you go. Just make sure your horizontal lines are always the same, so you don't have to different, even if you have different sizes. That's the beauty of having an horizontal line, right? So I'm just going to place this here and there we go. Remember, I said if it's not giving you the image part you want, you could just double click and then resize as you want. But I want this to have part of the flowers and part of his dreadlocks, right? And there we go. So as you can see, we have different borders. You have horizontal, you have vertical, horizontal, and you just keep on duplicating them until you get the number of posts you want. Now when uploading onto your Instagram feed, you have to alternate when posting. So first you have to go, let's say if you're going with the horizontal, the next post should be vertical, the next following will be horizontal, or vice versa. It could be vertical, horizontal, and vertical. So that's pretty much how to achieve this look of a mixed border. So try this one out as well, and I am watching out for your feeds, and I would love to see one or two of these layouts implemented. Moving on, we'll be doing the dark borders. Hi guys, and now we're on to the dark borders. Now this feed design is a very interesting design, and it will give your Instagram feed an interesting look. So let's get started and see how to create it. It's very easy. Believe me, all the slides, the layouts I've been showing you, you will see how easy they are to create in less time. So let's get going. Now we're going to click on create a design as usual and come to custom designs. Now you can see I already have the 1000 by 1000 there, because that's the size I normally use. So it's automatically set in there for you because you use it almost all the time. So create a design, and then Canva is going to open up a page for us as usual. Now what you want to do here is you're going to come to elements. You see the element has, yes, I'm sure you'll be wondering why is you always going to elements. Element has lots of, from grids to gradients to frames to shapes to lines. This is where you find everything you want to use, even if you need illustrations or vectors to use for your post, from flowers to the coronavirus. As you can see, if you are the one in the medical field, or you just want to create a post talking about the coronavirus and how people can protect themselves, or if you want seafood run, it's full of illustrations for you to use, as well as charts if you're creating infographics, and stickers, animated stickers, as you can see. So in the elements it's full, or it's a large library full of different items you could use. On the web form of Canva, it's called elements. On your mobile app, it's called illustrations, right? So let's get going. So here now we're going to come back once again to our grid, and we're going to click on grid, and it's going to show us this. Now what we want to do here is we're going to select a color. We want a color background for it. Now you can use any color you want to, but just make sure you can use any color, literally any color you want. So I'm going to use black just for the tutorial itself. Now what you want to do, it's black, right? You're going to come back once again to elements. The black here is just to give us a background for the border we're trying to create. So we're going to come back to grids once more. Now we're going to reduce the size of this new grid we just placed. You can resize it to how thick you want your borders to be. It's depend on your own style. You can make it thinner, you can make it thicker. It depends on how you want it to be. Now if I move this, you would see the guidelines of Canva tells me it's straight. So there you go. Now you're going to come to photos, and you're going to place in pictures that you want to place. Now one thing I want you to understand is this border color can be changed to your preferred color or to your brand color, but what you want to make sure is whatever image you're pasting, if your border color is dark, if you put in a darker color, it wouldn't show the border you just created. Now I'm going to show you an example of what I'm talking about. Like this picture here, if I place it, as you can see, its background, it's black. So if I place it, you can't really tell where the border is. Yes, it's showing, but it's not really showing at the same time. So you just really want to choose a lighter color depending on the color of your border frame. Now like I said, you can change the color of the frames. All you have to do is click on it and come to the color section, and you can change it to any color you want. It can be your brand color. It can be practically any color you feel like using for your border. So we're just going to duplicate this, and then all you have to do is change the images, right? So I'm just going to insert this. As you can see, it's a beautiful and interesting look your page is going to have. But that's why it's called dark borders for a reason. It's not that you cannot use any colors. You can use any colors, so just make sure the colors you're using are darker. Now in Canva, when you come here, it will give you default colors. If it's not as dark as you want, you just click on this here which says new color. If you know the hex for your colors, you can just type it in, and if you don't know, all you have to do is you just have to shift this if you are in the family of that color you want. Now if I come down here and I shift this, I can go to red, the red family, different shades of red, right? Or if I come this way, I'm going towards the orange, and then the yellow and the green and blue and all, and that, like that. So let's say I'm sticking to the red. Now as you can see, the shade of red here is different based on this. If I want it to be a darker red, all I have to do is shift to the dark color I want, right? So as you can see, once again, very easy, very lovely, very interesting color. Now if I want to change this and I click here, just because I have used this color previously, it's now in document colors, so I don't have to go here and start looking for it again. All I have to do is click here, and there I have it, voila, as you can see, without even placing it yet on your Instagram feed, how beautiful and lovely it's looking. So just imagine when it's on your feed, how interesting it's going to be, as you can see. So that's it pretty much about it for the dark border colors. Remember, you can always change the border colors to suit your brand. Just make sure the image you're using complements, it stands out. As I'm scrolling, I'm already imagining this on one of you's Instagram feed, and yes, it really is an interesting layout for your Instagram feed. I'm just going to change this and add another image to see how it would come out. So I have flowers, coffee flowers. Yeah, very interesting feed. I don't like the flowers. We're having too much of flowers there. So let me just go for something natural. So there you go. So you can see it's beautiful. So give this one a try as well, and jazz up, mix up your Instagram feed from time to time to give it a different look. So next we're going to go to the puzzle feed, and which is currently the trend. Everyone is jumping on board the puzzle feed for their Instagram layout, and some other interesting layouts you could use for your Instagram feed. Hi guys, now we're back to the puzzle feed, and like I said, the puzzle feed is trending right now. Everyone wants to have that puzzle feed look on the IG feed layout. But one thing you have to understand is you have to be very creative when you want to use or you want to design a puzzle feed for your IG. So let's get going. Now we're going to create a design, but for the puzzle feed, when you come to custom dimensions, you cannot use the regular size of Instagram post when creating a puzzle feed. So if you want to do this, there's a size of 3,240 and 3,240, not the 1,000 by 1,000 or the 1,080 by 1,240. It has to be a 3,240. So we're just going to click on create design, and then voila, we have our Canva open. Now once again you're going to say there's not much difference, it's practically the same size as the normal Instagram square. Yeah, you wouldn't notice that, but there are little differences when it comes to the size. It's not, you cannot see it unless you go to the guidelines. Yes, and Canva does have a guideline. You could ask it to show you guides, it will show you guides. You could ask it to show rulers, it will show you rulers. So pretty much like the normal design softwares out there, like Photoshop and the likes of it. It will show you print bleeds. If you are going for a PDF and you want to print, not PDF or posters, you could ask it to show you the print bleed. The print bleed normally shows where the image ends and where the cutting off of, if you're printing it out on a large scale, where they'll have to cut it off for you. But I don't really use that. You might use that because I don't print my images. So what I normally have left on is the guides, which is that pink or purple color that we normally see. So now for the puzzle feed, we're going to come to elements because it's a puzzle, and remember I said you have to be creative. And for puzzle feed, you have to, it's advisable you create 9 posts at a time. So you have 9 standalone grids on your Instagram. And one thing you have to remember is every square is a standalone post, even though you're creating a puzzle. So we're going to come back to our grids, and then we're going to choose the mock-up or simulation of an Instagram feed, which is the 9 posts we used previously, if you remember, to create our puzzle feed, which is this one, right? But what you're going to do here, so you don't go out of line when creating, because we would be deleting this grid, we're going to go again to elements, and we're going to choose lines. Now the line is just to help us as guidelines to know where each square ends. So you're just going to increase that, and you're going to duplicate it to post, because you have 9 grids. Just bring it out up to this extent, so that it's, so we're just going to do copy, and then we're going to place it here. It's just a guideline to show us where each square begins and where each square ends, right? So we're going to duplicate that one more time, 2 more times, and we're going to, as you can see, yes, I forgot to mention the rotate button. This is a rotate button, and this cross sign is to move it if I want to move. Now for rotation, if I click on the rotation, it rotates it for me. So I'm just going to place that here, and we're going to pick up the next one and rotate it as well and place it there on the white line. They're just guidelines, don't worry, you're going to delete them after creating your puzzle. Let's just straighten that up a bit. Okay, my mouse is kind of shaky this night and it's not straightening. There we go. I'm just going to move it onto the white line. Don't worry about them, you're going to delete them after creating your puzzle. Now once you've done this, we're going to delete the main grid. So we're just going to come, delete, and it's gone. And then your designing can start. You can start placing your visuals, you can add text, you could add anything you basically want to add actually. So we're just going to start with the grid. I'm going to reduce this. Let's say we just want to put this here. Now as you can see, yes, you would say I'm putting this in between 2 grids, but you just have to understand that each one is a standalone. So this that I placed here, let's say I placed an image here. When creating a puzzle feed, what I want you to understand is it's kind of like telling a story. So each standalone is like a continuity of a story. But what most people do that I see on Instagram is they do the puzzle on the background rather than on the story. What I mean by that is they can just come to backgrounds and add a background just to make it aesthetically looking, but you could also do that in elements. So let's say here I have placed this. When you slice here, this part is going to be here. So whatever you're pasting here, just know it has to have a continuation, because half of it is going to be on this grid here on your Instagram feed. So it has to have a continuation, right? So that's one. We're going to place another one, let's say somewhere here. Let's reduce that and let it just be on its own. So that's an image, right? It can be smaller, it can be bigger, it's how you want. You just have to keep on. Like I said, it needs planning ahead. You don't just start designing a puzzle feed just like that. You must have a plan of how you want your puzzle feed to look like. And now here comes the fun part. You just start adding as you want, what you want to add into it. So I'm going to just show you an example. I could just add, shapes. I'm going to look for lines. I'm just going to look for lines. There are different kinds of lines. You can place an arrow. It depends on the story you're trying to tell with your feed. I'm going to add a brush. Okay, so I'm just going to add a brush just to give it that look. I'm going to change the color to this, just this. You can resize it. It doesn't really necessarily have to be all of it. It could just be half of the brush showing. You could place flowers. Okay, that's a pro version. So it's not really, we're going to have watermarks. Okay, so I'm just going to come to flowers. Flowers. You could place basically anything you want to uh, place just to create your feed. You could place ivy leaves. Just remember you're creating a puzzle. Now what most do is like, so it's not on top of whatever you're going to be pasting there. You highlight this and you come to position and you ask it to be backward. So once it's backward, you just keep on pressing on it, it no longer shows. So once it's backward, I can come now and add an image over it, right? So it's showing. I'm just going to reduce this. I'm going to reduce this and increase this. It doesn't really have to be showing everywhere. And here I can place a text. I can place a text. So basically that's what a feed is about. I can duplicate this brush and bring it here and rotate it. So a feed is just basically you creating a puzzle. Feed is you just creating something aesthetically pleasing, but once again it needs lots of planning. Now because this is facing here and I don't want it to face here, I want it to face opposite. I could ask it to flip it horizontally so that I could place it here and increase it. I just want part of it showing. I don't want all of it showing. Remember I said you could position it backward so it's not blocking everything you're doing. As you can see now my image is up on front and I can place in an image as I want into my grid and the flower would not be blocking it, right? And the same thing goes for any other thing you want to add there. So coffee, you just have to plan your puzzle feed the way you want it to be. So I'm just going to place a coffee here. I'm just going to place coffee. Okay, let's say this arrow because after eating, of course, you want to drink coffee. So I'm just going to flip this and ask it to flip horizontal. So this is basically telling that after food, you just have to come for coffee. And I'm going to rotate this so it's pointing up to my coffee, and I would ask it to position it backward because I don't want it overlapping on this image. So my coffee is here, or I could place it somewhere else. It could be half of it. It doesn't really necessarily have to be the full of it. So I could just come to photos and pick a cup of coffee, right? So after food, lunch, I'm going to have a cup of coffee. Then because I work, I can come to elements and then choose notepad. You, like I said, you just have to be creative, right? You just choose plan how you want your feed to look like. So I'm just looking for a notepad just to duplicate that. I write notes. We all write notes, right? So I'm just going to have a notepad somewhere here. Coffee and notepad works well. Then I'm going to look for a pencil. Okay, and I am going to reduce that and let it be on next to the pencil or the notepad or right on top of the notepad. It depends how you want to position it. So basically that's how creating a puzzle is. You could after creating it, you could rearrange it maybe because you don't like how it looks like, you know. You can place them as you want. You could increase it, you could reduce it, you could remove it if it's not giving you the look you really want. Brush. Okay, so I'm just going to go for this one now and let's see. Okay, no, I prefer to leave this one. So you could just keep on adding, and remember you can change colors of everything you place on your feed. Now I might decide to have a background of just in objects, just to give it that feed, right? So I have this one here. I would copy it if I want to repeat it so it keeps showing. But remember, you just have to place it to the back. So I could increase this, as you see. I could increase it just to have it on the background, but remember to position it backward so it's not covering any of your main image, right? And you can also change the color of it to a lighter color, which is gray if you want. It could be lighter gray. You could keep on adding objects as you want. Let's look for triangles. Now, because this is a free Canva subscription, most of the elements are, as you can see, has a crown, are for the pros. Once you subscribe, you would have access to that. So basically, this is what how to create your feed is. It's really simple. Actually, I could just do this because I don't want all of it. I just want half of it showing, just to add that design to my and just tell it to position to back. So basically that's what a feed creation of a feed is. Position forward, no, position backward, sorry. Okay, so that's how to create a puzzle. It's not really difficult, actually. It's very easy, but it requires planning, as you can see, right? You can change colors of elements that you place on your board to fit the color of your design. So that's why I said when creating, have a plan. As a creator, be it a content creator, be it a visual creator or a designer, you should always have a mood board where you plan out how your designs are going to look like. So when you're done with your puzzle feed, where, like I said, if you remember, I said you're going to delete this. Now don't mind, I know this looks very shabby, it doesn't look very interesting, but you could make it more interesting as you want. And if you're finding that it's not your kind of style, or you're finding it difficult to create, but actually it's very easy, it's just that I'm not that creative when it comes to things like this. I'm just kidding. So I'm just trying to show you the basics of how to create a puzzle feed is. You could reduce this, you could add different designs, as you can see I'm doing, but remember the placements of your images or your elements, once they are sliced up, should be, when you're placing them, make sure you're telling a story, right? So each one has, because it continues on to the next grid. Now if you don't want to do that style, what you can also do, but let's finish with this one. So when you're done doing this, like I said, you have to delete this, so you would have a complete Canva, and then you would upload it to a website, right? So let me just do quickly one so it doesn't look too empty, and let me just quickly bring this here so it doesn't look too empty, and then I can show you how to slice it. Now this is a standalone because it's on its own. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to bring it here, but it's half and it's in between two grids, Instagram grids, right? I'm going to position this backward, and there you go, so it's not blocking my post. Now when you've deleted, you have a full page. Then you're going to come to your web browser and you're going to go to Pine Tools. It's a free online tool, pinetools.com, that slices your feed. Now when you're done with this, you're going to download it. Let's go ahead and download it. So I will just show you how it looks like. Now for most people, they don't do their puzzle feeds like that. What they do is they do a background. Okay, so let's just put this on the desktop and I'm going to call it puzzle, so it's going to be easier for to locate. Save, continue editing. Okay, so we're going to come back to Pine Tools. Now when you come back to Pine Tools, you scroll down to images, to files. We're going to come and then you select split files. Now it's going to ask you to input your file. We're going to choose it and let's look for that where we puzzle. Okay, so let's look for the puzzle image. Okay, I guess I found it, and there you go, that's a puzzle. You open it. Okay, 3 pieces will be generated. Now you're going to come to number splitting criteria. Oh, I'm not splitting file, I should be splitting images. I'm sorry about that. Okay, I should be splitting images, not file. Okay, that's a split image, come on up, split image. Because on the split image it will ask you okay, there you have it. So you go to images. I'm sorry about that, really sorry about that. You go to images and you ask it to split your images into smaller files. Now you're going to choose file. Okay, so where's our puzzle? One more time, let's look for the puzzle, and there we go. We're going to upload it. Now as it's uploading, it will ask you vertically, horizontally, so you're going to choose both grid, right? And always save output as your JPEG. Now in the quality of for vertically, quantity of blocks, it's going to be in threes, and also horizontally you have to choose 3 because like we said it's 9, right? So you want 9 individual posts, and we're going to ask it to split images. Now as you can see, it has split the images and then you have to download them individually. So row 1, we're going to save it to desktop. We're going to choose row 1 column 2 and we're going to save it there as well. Then we're going to just keep on doing that until you have all your individual puzzle posts downloaded. Now I'm just going to show you. So let's go to row 1, and if we go to row 1, it's going to show you how it has individually sliced up that image. Okay, so let's just go back to my folder and desktop. I just want you to see how it has individually sliced up that image. As you can see, this is the full image, right? And it has sliced them up individually for you to see, and that way you can upload them onto your Instagram. So pretty much that's what the puzzle feed is about. Now, like I was saying, most people prefer to have a puzzle feed with the puzzle would be the background, not the images itself. So they create a background with elements and then individual posts in each grids. Okay, so there you have it. Now I'm going to show you how to create. I'm just going to copy this. Like I said, aside of puzzle, there are interesting feeds you could also create, which are should I say extraordinarily, they're not the basic Instagram feed layouts you're used to. So let's go creating that one. I'm just trying to delete this ones so we can use the same page instead of jumping into a new Canva to design. So like I said, you could create other interesting layout feeds aside of the borders and the puzzle and the rest of them. So we're going to come back again to elements to show you. I just want to show you different feeds you could create. So we're going to come back to elements, and then we're going to go back to our grids. Now you can design this individually. Like I always say, when I'm starting, you could create them individually, or you could create them on a grid of sorry, excuse me, on a grid of 9, a mock-up grid, and then you can slice them up in pine tools. So this is the grid, and like I said, we're going to have to demarcate them just so we know what we're creating. Now this design doesn't, this style is not necessarily just for your puzzle feeds. You can use them to create individual posts, but at the same time, so it saves you time when creating. So there we go, and we're going to do that one more time and just flip it, rotate it, so to use it for our vertical stand, and just bring it here, and one more just to bring it here. Don't worry, we'll delete this later. And now we're going to delete the grid. Now here you could do a different kind of style. You don't want the mixed borders, you don't want vertical, you don't want dark borders. Let's say you want to go for something different, which is circles. You could have your feed just in circles. Circles, yeah. You see, you can just have them in circles and place your images into them for your feed. It will give you a different look, a different style. You just have to be creative on Instagram, and you can place them as you want. As you can see me placing, you could either have all your grids in circles, or you could have a mix of checkerboard but in circles, or you could also have the vertical or the horizontal but at the same time in circles. So what I mean, I'm going to show you just some few examples. Like this could be your full feed, it could just be plain circles, but here you're not going to have text unless, let's say, let's go away from coffee and look for something more interesting. Let's use people, it's beautiful, or let's use fashion for the fashion ones out there. Fashion, okay, so let's use fashion. So bags, you could just put in bags, you could put in purses. It's just a different kind of feed because it's there in circles. You could put in shoes, because we're still on the fashion. Okay, so clothes, let's just keep on searching for images because I said clothes, right? Fashion, there you go. You could have this here, then you could have the lady shopping. So as you can see, this is a circle feed. Now when you're done, once again, don't forget to delete these lines because you're going to be uploading this onto Pine Tools to split them up for you. Now if you want to place circles and a text at the same time, you just have to reduce your circle and you could place a text. And you could place a text. So let's see a font combination. uh there we go, cue the confetti. Now one thing is, you don't really have to use the combination like this one, cue the confetti. I love the cue the confetti. The confetti, I don't like the cue the. So you could ungroup this and delete this, or you could even mix them up in your post. So here you go, you have an image and a text. I'm going to reduce this one too and just bring it up slightly and have this text. So there you go, you can do different kinds of designs. You just have to be creative. I'm just going to copy this and bring it in here, and then you just have to keep on placing photos that you have uploaded or that you have on the library, in the library of Canva. So practically that's for the circle. And like I said, you could mix them up. They don't necessarily have to be just circles. It could be circles with text. It could be just plain circles. And you can alternate them. You could have circles and let's delete this grid. And you could just have circles and text. As you can see, you could have circle, text, and just a mixture of what you want. I could practically just delete this and then bring in the cursor here, as you can see me doing. And here as well, I could delete the grid and bring in the confetti. So as you can see, I now have a mix of different styles, but I'm using the circles. Like I said, you could just do plain circles, you could do it in this style, or you could even have images here in circles, your text here and text above. So as you can see, you just have to be creative. Now don't forget I said you should delete the lines before uploading, and once again you could do them individually. All you have to do is go to your elements, and when you want to create an element, you don't use the grids, because in the grids we don't have the circle shape, we have them in the frame shape. So that's the frame shape, and all you have to do is increase it until you have the guideline of Canva, and insert your image into it. So you could do them individually, you could reduce the size and then have a text with it. So once you're doing them individually, you download them and upload onto your Instagram feed, or you could use the same style. Another style I want to show you, very creative styles, you don't have to be fixed on one, like I said, is a different shape. You could use different shapes. You don't have to be fixated on one particular shape, and that is the hexagon shape. Now that is in the elements. So we're going to go to elements once more. We're going to go to frames. As you can see in the frame, you have different shapes that you don't have. I'm just going to take you back to the grid to see in the frames you have different designs and different shapes. You even have letters where you can place in pictures. You have heart shapes, you have a mirror shape, you have a location, and you have a puzzle. Now you could do a puzzle style for your feed. You just have to place it individually here and make sure it doesn't cross the line. So when you're placing images, you can have that straight line. So as you can see, we have this, and you can also create star. You can have a star. Okay, so you don't get confused. I'm going to just copy and let me duplicate this page. Okay, so we're just going to use the star here, and we'll come back to it. I'm just going to show you just trying to show you the different styles you can have and different shapes, unusual shapes you can have for your Instagram layout. For your Instagram layout, they don't necessarily have to be the basic ones. As you can see, I see you noticed Canva is showing me the guidelines that I'm in a straight line. Okay, so like you see here, we have the puzzle. So for the puzzle, you just go find an image. But with this, you really have to be creative. You really have to be creative with this. So we're just going to put a family in here. You just have to be really creative and make sure it's showing as you want. Okay, there you have one family, and now we're going to look for another one and place them. So I'm just trying to show you unusual shapes. It doesn't necessarily have to be families. You can use anything or any image you have ready into your grids. So I'm just trying to show you the different kind of designs you can have, and also you can place them around with words, different images, different styles. You can do this. So you can see how pretty your Instagram feed is. You don't necessarily have to be fixated on one. So there you have it. Once you do it this way, don't forget to delete the lines because you're going to upload them. Now, if you want to do them on their own, on a standalone, you could still do that. All you have to do again is go to your elements, pick the frame and increase it. And increase it to the size you want. But don't forget, Canva shows you a guideline, and you can come to photos and you can insert the image you want, and you keep doing that as many posts as you want. And you could also do just the colors and write text in them. They don't necessarily have to be images. So that's it for different shapes. Then lots of shapes you could create. You could do numbers. Have you tried using numbers? And you can insert an image into it. So I'm going to just try this with my initials, which is this. Okay, with my initials, and I would just add an image into it just to show you that there are lots of things you could achieve with creating a beautiful Instagram feed and not just the basic ones. So there we have it. And now I can come to photos, or if I want, I could include my image into it, but it's not really going to be feasible, but let's give it a try. So what I can do here, I'm going to show you what you can do is you could play around with it. So I could just I click here and just bring the beginning of my face. It's like creating a puzzle, and at the end of the day, it's just going to give me a full image of my face if I place them together, right? So like you have to be patient, and you have to be very, very, very creative, and there you go. But here I'm leaving out, and then I have my full face here. So you see, even with letters you could create lots of things. If I move this closer, you can see with my initials I have just created my own image. So there's so many creative ways you could design your feed. If you don't want the puzzle, the hexagons, there are different shapes. You could even do the unusual shapes like the brushes, like the mirror shape. You could have this as your uh, design for your feed. Just please remember, before designing, have a plan, have a draft. It's called a mood board for most designers. They're very familiar with mood boards. So have a mood board. If you don't have a mood board, a paper and a pencil, draft out what you want, how you want your design to look like, what colors are they going to be, and if it's a puzzle, is it telling a story, a continuous story, or it's just a background? So I'm just showing you different kind of shapes you can use for your Instagram feed. There's one I liked best. I'm trying to look for it, which is the hexagon shape. So I'm just going to go back to shapes because it's not in the frames. So let's see if I can find it in the grids, but I think it's in my shapes. it's not in the grids. So I'm just going to go back to shapes where you can create, you can find different kind of shapes as well. So all you have to do is just pick the one you like and then use it to create your feed. So that's it about puzzle feed and other designs of feeds you could create for your Instagram layout. Now when you're done, if you're using this style, please do remember to delete these lines so you can upload them for slicing to Pine Tools and download them individually. And if not, if you're using just a plain one, you have to just come to download and download them individually onto your system and upload onto your Instagram. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you find it useful, and I hope you go out creating the different designs I have shown you. And if you have any questions, do feel free to contact me, and I would be happy to answer any questions you have. Thank you very much once again for watching, and don't forget to follow me on my Instagram page, Evolve with Juliet. Bye.